Somebody on Twitter posted some The Last of Us Part 2 combat. And they say they will make The Last of Us remake with improvements to AI combat. But let's see how good they did with The Last of Us Part 2. So Ellie runs to the guy with the gun. First of all, we have no idea how loud she is because we have this stupid music. Fine, it's a video game, you usually have some abilities that makes you silent. But then we have that guy with a gun. He's clearly on edge and ready to shoot. Also, let me remind you that this is a game with a lot of zombies and human enemies. So this guy should always be ready to encounter enemies. But the first thing that he does, he gets scared. He starts aiming his gun for a few seconds, but he doesn't even aim it at Ellie. Then for some reason he starts to put his gun down again. And then he gets hit with a bottle. But before getting hit with a bottle, it was no reason for him to react that way. After this combat with the 2 AI, then she makes a takedown from above. The NPC that's attacked, the black girl, she reacts completely normal. Exactly like in real life. She heard the noise, she aims at Ellie and she shoots. 2 times. It doesn't matter if she missed because not everybody has a good aim. So everything is perfect. But the other guys ignore this completely. The guy on the left with the rifle comes to the rescue, but then he decides to leave and go into cover. He just watches while Ellie takes down everybody. She even takes her time to beat that other guy with a stick. She even takes the time to do some sliding. And I only think he shot his rifle 1 time. I don't care about the part with him missing his shots, but him running into cover instead of attacking, okay, fine, let's say that's not an issue. What about the other guy that has a gun? He runs to take cover right next to the NPC that's being attacked. Not only that, but he is also watching the other way. So he sees her partner that's being attacked. She even shot her gun 2 times, but he says, well, that's completely normal. She does that type of stuff all the time. Then he sees Ellie that just killed his partner. And guess what he decides? To turn his back on Ellie and to find another place to take cover. So he never used his gun, he was only looking for more places to take cover. I'm not even sure if Ellie was shot at least 1 time during this. Let's say that the game was played at very light difficulty. And that's why Ellie never got shot. But that still doesn't explain the bad AI that just wants to go to cover, even if you are staying right next to them. Next we have Abby. But sorry to disappoint you, I cannot say much about Abby. Mostly because she has 2 more teammates with her. And it's hard to say if the enemy focuses her or the enemy focuses her friends, or the enemy reacts in a certain way because they are shot by her friends. Or maybe the zombie AI is better because they don't have guns and they don't need to take cover. Anyway, I have another combat with Ellie. In the first part, there's not much I can say. Everything is okay. The enemies are stunned and killed. And let's say that the guy who stays there and watches everything doesn't want to shoot his friends. Or he has problems with his eyes and he cannot see in the distance. But the next NPC just runs into Ellie. I mean, Ellie's gun. And you can argue that she has a melee weapon, but you can clearly see that when she comes out of cover, she tries to run in a different way. She stops, she is still watching the other way, she starts running again and she is still watching the other way. And exactly when she's getting very close to Ellie's gun, she starts facing Ellie and she attacks her. Well, she tries to attack her. And now for the last part. Ellie catches the enemy and the other enemy reacts exactly like the first one, in the first video. The enemy NPC again has the gun ready, but she gets scared for a few seconds, and after that she aims the gun at Ellie and she shouts. So if this is how good the AI for part 2 was, then what improvement can we have in part 1? The remastered version of part 1 isn't that broken. I'm talking about the remastered version because that's the version that I played. And I don't see that part 2 has a big difference. And I'm pretty sure they will not make miracles with a remake. And again, it's not like The Last of Us Part 1 is so broken that it needs a remake. Also, I see a lot of people using the marketing buzzwords. It's a game rebuilt from the ground up. everybody looks their age. First of all, what's from the ground up? They use the same motion capture acting from the original. They use the exact voice acting from the original. They changed some props in the remake with props from The Last of Us Part 2. And they also improve some textures. All of this can be done on PC with a simple mod. And that's usually free. Anyway, did anybody play The Last of Us Part 2 in survivor mode? Because let's say that the difficulty in these videos was very light. But in hard difficulty or survivor difficulty, the enemies act differently. I didn't see a big difference. So I don't think it was because of the difficulty. Anyway, I agree that the game does compensate with the animations and the audio. The point that I was trying to make with this video wasn't that the combat in part 2 is very bad. My point is, if you played The Last of Us Part 1, you will see that the difference is not that big. So if this is the combat in part 2, almost the same as in part 1, but you say you remake a game to improve the AI and some graphics, and you call that rebuilding from the ground up, then I have an issue, and this is why I made this video. You barely can see a difference. Just go on the internet and see aggressive gameplay with The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. You will not notice a huge difference. Most of the time you will not even see a difference. This is why I always had an issue with Naughty Dog fanboys. It's like they never played other games. And whenever a new game comes out, they act like the game has huge improvements. I'm not saying that they didn't make improvements, I'm just saying they're not that huge. Also, stop saying the game is made from ground up, you don't even know what that means. That is marketing buzzwords. The game is not made from the ground up. You can say that about the Resident Evil 2, the Final Fantasy 7. Those remakes were made from the ground up. The gameplay was changed completely. The AI is different. The abilities, the voice acting, the everything. That's how a game made from ground up should look. Just because you made some small improvements here and there doesn't mean it's made from the ground up. If you never played The Last of Us Part 1, of course, it's a good idea to buy the new one when they will make a huge discount, because I'm pretty sure they will make a huge discount very fast. Sony has a lot of fanboys, but the rest of the people are not that stupid, so if they still have The Last of Us Part 1, they will not buy it again. So I'm 100% sure Sony will make a big discount very fast. They are reselling you an old game with small improvements. They didn't invest a lot of money, so they don't really care. They did some small improvements, so if they sell at least 1 million, that's a lot of money for them. They just want to take the money from the fanboys, and after the fanboys buy the game at full price, then they will start asking for the normal price. So I want to finish with this. Naughty Dog fanboys still think The Last of Us Part 2 is the best game ever made just because it got a lot of awards. The gaming industry is the same as the movie industry. They will never award the best. They only award their friends, and they have these awards festivals only for marketing, to promote their games. This is why you always see huge gaming companies, and almost never small companies that made good games. And especially the critics who review as many games as possible, because that's their job. They should know that more games exist. But most of the time, if you hear a huge game being released this year, you almost always know that that game will be awarded. I'm not saying that AAA games should not be awarded. I'm just saying that most of the time they don't deserve it. And The Last of Us Part 2 did not deserve a lot of those awards. And even if a game has all the awards possible, that doesn't mean it's a good game or the best game. It's usually a game that a few people, the critics, decided it deserves a lot of awards. You don't know if the critics played other games, you don't know if the critics finished the game, you only see a small number of games being nominated, but many times you know other games that deserve to be at least nominated. I don't even know why I'm saying this, because I think most of the people already know this. And the people who think that awards matter are usually the same ones that are obsessed with celebrities. And we already have studies about those kinds of people. And I'm 100% sure that fanboys are the same as celebrity obsessed people. They may not worship a celebrity, but they usually worship a console, a corporation, a game. And I'm not saying that you should not like a game or a celebrity, I'm just saying that you should not be obsessed with it. For example, to rebuy a game at full price just because they made some small improvements. And okay, if you do that, do it, whatever. But I also see Naughty Dog fanboys saying that the price is more than deserved. It should be at full price because it was rebuilt from the ground up. This is the obsession that I was talking about. And I will always have an issue with this type of mentality. Because if you always accept this kind of greed from corporations, they will always want more. And they will give you less.